Hello there, Karl, and welcome to another episode of Wiki Weekdays.
Mm-hmm.
Weekdays? Weekends. I've done that again because we've just finished recording the podcast.
Go check it out.
Go check that one out. We had a lot of fun recording that one.
We really did. We didn't even get to mention the thing that I was going to tell you, because I think it's important that you know, is that my sister knows a guy called Colin Corn Sausage. And I'm now going to call, if I ever get a pet, I'm going to call it Colin Sausage. And just audience at home, can you think of a single pet that wouldn't suit the name Colin Corn Sausage? Because we spent the entire evening trying to think of a pet that wouldn't suit that name. And I came to the conclusion that every single pet would suit the name Colin Corn Sausage.
That's an unstoppable name.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a single animal pet combo that wouldn't just be an amazing Colin Corn Sausage.
Well, we're not talking about Colin the Corn Sausage here, Carl.
We're not. What are we talking about?
We are talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
So you're going to go this quick, eh?
Going this quick?
That's what I mean. We've had Wiki Weekends have been up for a couple of months now. You're already going you know what? Pull the It's Always Sunny button.
Well, yeah, because, to date this video, the new season 16, is about to come to Netflix for us in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just really hyped up and excited for more Sunny, as always. And I just figured, it gives me an excuse to talk about one of my favourite TV shows.
And just go track down clips of all your favourite moments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Karl, I know you have watched only, tangentially. Have you got a favourite clip that you want me to throw in right now?
Yes. I'll get to why I've only watched a little bit of Always Sunny despite knowing how good it is and talking about how good it is. I think one for me is just... I'm going to put it entirely down to... actress name. It's Kristen Olsen, right?
Caitlin Olsen.
Caitlin Olsen, sorry, yeah. Her delivery is so good. And it's just the entire water park episode. Just where, just AIDS, but then, her reaction of, I've got AIDS blood in my mouth? What the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
Or she gets stuck in the slide.
Because her and Matt get stuck in the slide the entire episode, and then they come out, and they go into, a pool that's just red and filled with blood, and this kid's screaming oh no, AIDS blood. And
it's just her frustration is so powerful. She's such a good comedic actress in terms of delivery.
Incredible.
Is that blood? There's AIDS blood in the pool! It's goddamn AIDS blood! Has anyone seen my son? God damn it! I hate this goddamn water park!
If anyone is easily offended by the idea of AIDS blood in the pool being a joke, maybe don't watch this episode, because there's going to be a lot of other stuff probably along those lines.
But the thing worth pointing out is that Always Sunny, its characters are arseholes. So there's a point to the offensive. It's not like Family Guy, where they do it for shock value because they're not good at writing jokes.
Exactly.
And
it's meant to be the most deplorable people you could ever know, all essentially fucking around and finding out most episodes.
Yeah, so when you see them, for example, be homophobic or transphobic, the joke is that only an absolute moron, like the characters they're playing, would believe and or parrot this.
And as despicable as they are, the one thing that's been pointed out in more recent times is even as early as the show was running, from 2005, there was a trans character introduced, and even these assholes respect their pronouns.
Yep, even then,
immediately, without question.
Keep in mind, this is the same era where you were having I think Ace Ventura was the 90s, but you had so many shitty comedy movies that would just make fun. Being gay was a punchline, being trans was a punchline.
Yeah, and I think generally the show does a fairly good job of not punching down to minorities and people are discriminated against and stuff, and if in the sense that they are punched down on by these assholes, where the point is that they are meant to be making bad and awful points.
Yeah, and a lot of times they make really good points. I think I'm pretty sure it got a lot of praise. The episode where they all turn black, it's the gang. The gang
turns black, yeah.
And there's a lot of really neat little character moments in that show that kind of satirize and skew the idea of the overly sensitive liberal person who doesn't want to acknowledge that someone's black. And they have like, well, how are we going to describe... There's a character called Old Black Man. So how are we going to describe this dude to a black dude and ask... It's like, oh, he's old. And there's, old black man.
Yeah. Immediately the black character is just like, oh yeah, old black man.
Yeah, because he's black. And it's like, it's not a bad thing to say that he's black, because he is.
I don't know how to describe him. He's old and he's about this tall. He has...
Nigga, you talking about old black man.
And then you've got Danny DeVito, he's just like, sings a song about, I'm gonna say the N-word because I'm black now, and it's like, no, you can't do that.
I'm gonna say the N-word!
No, stop!
Why?
Thank you, no!
Why?
We're not saying that,
Why
absolutely
I'm
not.
black now? It's probably the only chance I got to say it.
Why are you looking for a chance to say it?
And I just think, like, the show is extremely clever for the most part in terms of how it handles these topics and how it kind of has these discussions through the lens of these horrible people.
Yeah, and you get to like, it satirizes them. It's the thing that Family Guy and stuff try to do, but they always get a bit... They do the thing of, in the last minute of the episode, and I think South Park even started satirizing themselves for doing this, of like, you know what, guys, I learned something today. Because they realised that too many members of their audience were too fucking stupid to get the point they were trying to make. So they literally have the main character explain what the message is.
And that's basically the point of It's Always Sunny, is if at any point you find yourself agreeing with these characters, you're probably in the wrong.
Yeah. And they even have like that, and they usually will have like conflicting viewpoints on stuff. I think like it's the blackface episode we always like to single out, isn't it? Of being probably the most nuanced discussion about whether or not blackface is okay. And even the actors themselves said, we get why the episode was taken down, because, it's just any form of blackface is offensive to people. But we do stand by the points that we made in it of like, it is racist.
Yeah.
And we try to demonstrate, like, you have Matt going, is it Mac who's doing it? He's like, but I'm trying to accurately portray a black guy. How would I do that without painting my face black? Like, maybe maybe you shouldn't play a role that is written for a black guy.
Yeah. And then you've got Danny DeVito playing the stand-in of, like, the boomer who's just super racist and is like, well, I don't see a problem with it. And it's just shout out to Danny DeVito because...
I'm just laughing so much. In my head, I can see him doing the delivery, and it's so good.
Danny DeVito came in season 2, as we'll cover. And
National Treasure Danny DeVito gave his full title.
Absolute, National Treasure. And it elevates the show. Like, I argue season 1 is actually way better than people give it credit for, but it's like maybe like a little bit drier and a little bit like weirder with its commentary. But like even episode 1, like the gang gets racist, I think it's called.
Just tone set right away. Like this show is not going to be afraid to tackle these subjects.
Exactly,
and that's the thing as well. I love that they don't shy away from them. That's what I really like about Always Sunny. Of like. They don't pussyfoot around stuff like a lot of the show. Like they'll have a stand-in for the issue they're trying to talk about. Say, no, we're going to talk about racism, and just straight up have it front and center, and have the characters directly confronted by the consequences of being racist.
Yeah, and it's just phenomenal. But yeah, Danny DeVito just then comes in and just, as I say, elevates it from like season 3, because he kind of comes in as this like. More, he's not serious, but he's more serious than he turns out to be later on. He's brought in as like the father character, and he's like questioning what they're doing all the time and calling them deplorable and stuff, and then he just starts leaning the fuck in. And
it feels like they were afraid to write anything too bad for Danny DeVito, and like, you can tell that as they got more comfortable with him, they realised, oh, he's down for anything. He fully understands like what we're going for.
The man, the second one, was down to crawl out of a sofa bare naked. But anyway, we'll get into the wiki itself. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is an American sitcom created by Rob McElhenney and developed with Glenn Howerton for FX. It premiered August 4th, 2005 and was moved to FXX, beginning with the 9th season in 2013. It stars Charlie Day, Howerton, McElhenney, Caitlin Olsen, and Danny DeVito.
Oh, so good.
Just incredible. And I will say, like, yeah, it is now written by the trio of Charlie Day, Ben Howard and Rob McElhenney, but obviously the inspiration was originally created by Rob and Glenn.
Yeah, and I imagine that after so many years of playing those two characters, Caitlin Olsen and Danny DeVito, probably have veto power for a lot of stuff. It's like, we know you know this character now. Mm-hmm. We'll write the episode, but if you've got any input. Because I do know they got a lot of like executive producer credits on stuff because, yeah, it's a very collaborative atmosphere on set.
Rob McElhenney and Caitlin Olsen are married, so I'm sure if Rob McElhenney comes back and like starts talking about something he's writing for the character, yeah, she's probably going to get a fucking say in what goes on. So the series follows the exploits of The Gang, a group of narcissistic and sociopathic friends who run the Irish dive bar Paddy's Pub in South Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, just narcissistic sociopaths. It's like that. These are the people that you're meant to not be rooting for.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's not to say they can't be endearing in their own way or
they all are in their own way, yeah.
Charismatic or just like, compelling to watch. But it's like, as I said, the shows that do handle similar to like South Park, it's like it really lost its edge when Matt and Trey became literal billionaires. Like Matt Stone and Trey Parker, people don't know, are worth a combined $1.2 billion. Because they haven't got that edge anymore because they don't need to.
You say all this. Rob McElhenney, owner of a football club.
He is now, yeah. And that's the thing, like, but that's why it's surprising they managed to stay so razor sharp in the commentary they're doing. They've not like seemed to be resting on their laurels or anything.
And it's bizarre as well, like listening to them on the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast, which I presume has taken a hiatus because of writers and actors strikes.
Yeah.
But listening to them talk about things and just talking about their everyday lives, like they still come across as very genuine, down-to-earth people, which is just bizarre at the level of like fame that they've reached with like what is now the longest-running live-action American sitcom of all time, which is just phenomenal considering that this was just like this small FX show that they brought on Danny DeVito after the first season because they needed star power because no one was viewing.
Yeah. It was like, it was a new comedy with Danny DeVito. I'll watch that. Like, he was on Taxi. He was like one of the biggest shows in the world at the time.
Yeah, and the amount of people that have gotten into It's Always Sunny and even like listening to the creators say so of like it, series 9, season 10, season 11. It's phenomenal how well they've like managed to just edge it along until it found that breaking point.
This is what happens with success in business. Okay, if you keep making the right decisions over time, eventually you will get to a point where you tip and you become successful. It's like that book, The Tipping Point.
You walk in, it's, man, this show's real good. I was 150 episodes in, and so I guess I should address why I don't watch the show more. Because I love it. Every episode I watched, I howl laughing with, and I think I've described the description I like to use as, for me, It's Always Sunny is a nice wine. For you, it's your favourite beer. If your favourite beer, it's Old Faithful, always there. You go to your fridge, you can pull out the beer anytime. It's like Always Sunny, you've rewatched it like multiple times now.
Yeah, dozens of times probably.
For me, it's that really nice bottle of wine or fancy bottle of whiskey you get where you're not going to be able to find another bottle of that. Not for a while anyway. And for me, it's like, I'm not going to find a show of that quality to watch or dip my toes into. So just every now and again, when I'm with friends, usually like you or like I met Charlie, I'll be like, okay, let's watch some Always Sunny. And because it's fresh to me, it's still fun. And I know that eventually I'm going to get to the bottom of that bottle and there'll be no more episodes left. And I lose just the genuine, just guffaws I have of watching this phenomenal show. So that's why I've watched probably in combination 3 or 4 seasons in total, which means there's still another 100 or so episodes that I've not watched, which I will just very slowly piecemeal out.
Yeah, it says here there's 16 seasons on 170 episodes.
There we go. So I'd probably say I've watched about 70 episodes, and like I said, every single one is fantastic. And the fact that I've not seen that there's another 100 out there, that, when I really want to open that bottle again, get a nice glass of wine, get a nice, glass of whiskey, just sit down and watch a couple, and they'll be new to me.
There are some episodes, especially I think earlier episodes, where the pace of the show is so fast that there's so many jokes that you miss upon first watch.
It's just the show itself. It's I think it's the acting that does me. Of and the fact that it feels like they're making fun of you sometimes. With the editing feels so amateurish, but I guess that's the point. The one that it sends me just thinking about it is the episode with the bike. And you know what I'm talking about, don't you? When they say, Mac, we've seen the bike.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like the way it's edited, and it's just like, I still, every time I think about it, I laugh so hard. And it's like, and there's another 100 episodes with moments as strong as that.
Problem, just like any other workout bike. Well, the pedals.
When you said the bike, I couldn't think whether you meant that, the bike, or when they get their bike stolen by kids, and
again, another...
they just have, like, the beat down on, like, these 10-year-old children.
And that's when, like, Rob McElhenney, he was, like, Big Mac. It was when he was, like, super ripped. It was when, like, they're walking, and you get, like... Because I've seen that episode when it's, like, they just say, we're going to go get... And you think they're going to... It's the twist, isn't it? They're going to go beat up the dad. And they just, like, square down and just knock the fuck out of the kids. And again, another show would not have that. It wouldn't have the full-on fight scene of adult grown men suplexing children. And they do.
Yeah, it's so willing to go so far, but they still manage to, like, do it in just the perfect way.
Mm-hmm. And it's no
it's
point.
Really hard to describe.
Yeah, they don't punch down because it's the thing of like, it's like the whole thing of like writing a trans joke, for example. It's like, can I not write? So yeah, you can write a trans joke. I'd argue that most people probably can't because they don't have the lived experience to actually make an insight that is both humorous and original. Mm-hmm. But they're welcome to try, and it's like, with Always Sunny, because they give a shit, they research the issues, and they're not trying to cause offence to the people they're joking about. They're satirising the viewpoints of those who would, like, other them or make them feel diminished.
So, like, for example, there is a trans character that's introduced that Mac finds attractive, and the joke isn't about the trans character, it's about Mac trying to struggle with dating a trans character and not, like, having conflicted feelings and, not sure whether, like, people will accept it or whether they think they're gay now because of it.
Yeah.
And it's always a joke about Mac struggling with the attraction to a trans character rather than the trans person himself.
And it's like at no point, just because I've seen clips of this one, because I've seen the breakdown of it, but I've not seen the episode itself yet. And I know like, the character is never like referred to in a derogatory manner. I think, is it the ending as well that Mac tries to fight them?
No. In later seasons, they end up in an argument, but that is like quickly shut down because it's like Mac sees them in a gym and is like, "Oh hey, so have you had your surgery? Like you were meant to call me when you had the surgery." And it's like they didn't because Mac treated them like a piece of shit, and they moved on and they ended up marrying a new guy. And it's like, no, like you're not allowed to marry this guy because like that dude's now gay. And it's like, well, no, if anything, you're the gay one because you were with me when I had a penis. Yeah. And he's like, no, I can't be gay. You two are the gay ones. You two are the gays. I couldn't be gay. And it's like, just Mac, like, having this, like, loss of identity. It's a character who struggles with
their sexual identity, which is handled very... That's the other episode I've watched as well, where Mac realises he's gay. And you have, like, the Danny DeVito gif, like, I understand now.
I get it.
Like, that bit, and like, I think that did win an award from GLAAD. Like, they gave it an award of like it's one of the best episodes tackling like the topic of being gay that we've seen.
Just like that scene of him coming out to his dad with the dance, it like literally makes me cry every time. Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's okay. It's okay.
And as they said, they got an awards from gay aligned charities and stuff. Like, it's probably one of the best episodes tackling this topic. And I said, written by a straight dude. Because he just did some research, went, okay, what's it like to be gay? I'm just going to ask people what they think who are gay, and I'll use that to inform my writing. I'm not just going to assume I know what their lived experience is.
Also managed to slot that episode into It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And it's like, because that's the joke we always make, isn't it? Of like, you get comedians who are just shit now. Like, we can't make jokes about anything anymore. It's like, you can. Just make better jokes.
The longest running sitcom of all time is, like, seemingly not afraid to tackle anything.
And all it is that they just go ask people when they're going to joke about something like being gay, being trans, like, being black. They just go and ask people who've lived that experience and then write jokes based on that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just talk about like the roles.
Yes,
of,
go on.
of them.
The casting was, I love the role that they play. So who's your favourite character in the show?
Is really tough because they each bring their own flavour. It's like, well, maybe Charlie Day is like the easiest one to glob onto at first because he's just like the kind of like naive, like, you know, downtrodden Charlie who's like, oh no. Then but also like it's I mean, it's a bit harder to like Dennis.
But he's so good.
Dennis
he's my favourite
like
character.
The psychopath. But he does it so well that it's hard to not enjoy watching him on screen.
I think Dennis is my favourite because Glenn Howerton's performance, and I always bring it up because I want you to put the clip in because it's so good. Just when he's talking to those two girls, and Charlie Day turns all the way around in shot and starts laughing, and you see his shoulders heaving with laughter because of Glenn Howerton's delivery of like, do you not know that I wanted to bang you? And he just says it with a completely serious, straight face.
How did you not know that the reason I invited you back to my bar was to bang you? Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. Stay away from me.
Dick.
You're a dick. I'm not a dick. Oh.
It's worth noting that out of the three of them, like Charlie is called Charlie.
Yep.
Rob McElhenney is Mac. And then Glenn Howerton is called Dennis because he knew from second one he didn't want to be associated with the character of Dennis Reynolds.
Yeah.
Even though he totally is nowadays because, you know, that's the role he's most famous for. But he just wanted that bit of disassociation where, like, I don't want my character to be called Glenn because he is so off the rails.
The thing is, though, maybe that's a mistake because I'll never understand how he didn't get the role of Ted Bundy. So I always mention how he went into to audition for the role of Ted Bundy for the movie that Zac Efron got. And he's like, not only does Glenn Howerton look a lot like Ted Bundy, he's also amazing at playing a sociopath.
And I think one of my favourite moments is, it is a moment imagined in Dennis Reynolds' head, but just have you ever been in a storm? I don't know if you've seen that one.
I don't know, but I can picture it in his voice.
And I'll just...
There's so many clips,
because I can't do it justice.
You ever been in a storm, Wally? I mean, a real storm? Not a thunderstorm, but a storm of fists raining down on your head. Blasting you in the face.
No one can. That's the thing. He's so good. Oh, it's the one of like, it's the implication. So, what? Well, no, you're not going to do anything, right? Well, of course not, no. But she could say no. Of course she could say no, but she won't because of the implication. And it's just like the fact that like, his entire body language changes and you see him like physically closing in around Rob McElhenney. And you like his character like physically like blocks him off from reacting. Mm-hmm. It's such a good bit of like, just physical acting.
No, Santar, you're misunderstanding me, bro.
I think I am.
Yeah, you are. Because if the girl said no, then the answer obviously is no.
No.
But the thing is she's not gonna say no. She would never say no because of the implication.
And then there's another scene where they kind of bring it back where they're on a cruise. And he gets attracted to this girl who's like very young, clearly. Mm-hmm. And he like stops her in the middle of this boat in the hallway where there's no one around and there's a storm going on. And like, again, like, you know, for the implication, and he's like, oh, got your ID? I see that you're of legal age. Ha ha ha. And he's like, oh my god, this is terrifying.
And that's it, he's so good at like, but he turns it on and off so quickly.
I would like to go in your room. And I suspect that maybe you might say no, and yet I also feel like maybe you wouldn't dare.
I think the other favourite moment is the one that gets Ditz to crack. Just because the reaction image of like, like Charlie and Mac in tuxedos. They're both wearing like tails and top hats, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And they just like that image of him like going, oh no, did someone spend all their money on crack?
But we need money to buy crack. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you get addicted to crack? Did somebody get addicted to crack?
And then I was watching one episode last night where it's like Fat Mac and he's like, Dennis realizes that like He's like been trying to keep healthy and he's not actually healthy, so he should just give up on life kind of thing and do whatever he wants, like no limitations or whatever. And it's like then them just eating like loads of burritos and he's like, oh yeah, that's pretty good, or chimichangas or something.
Is that the one where he physically can't breathe?
I mean, it's part of the episode,
where you can actually hear him wheezing because he's actually eating the burritos.
I think it's a different episode, but yeah. But Mac turns around, he's like, no limits, Dennis, no limits. Like, you could have anything you want in the world, anything you want, thinking he's going to be like, I want some donuts. And he's like, I really want some crack.
Crack? Oh. I thought you were going to say pizza or
no.
buffalo wings or something.
No,
You
no.
want crack?
Yeah, crack cocaine.
Now, I've never had crack.
Dude, you are going to love it.
That's why it's fun to watch those characters suffer.
It really is. Yeah, so we got the janitor, Charlie Kelly, the bouncer, Mac, the bartender, Dennis Reynolds. They own Paddy's Pub, and then they have, in addition, Dennis's twin sister, Dee Reynolds, a struggling actress who works as a waitress there. And then in season 2, they are joined by Frank Reynolds, who's Danny DeVito, an eccentric millionaire and neglectful father of the Reynolds twins. And I think that was just the catalyst for them to do whatever the fuck they wanted. Is like, fuck it, Frank pays for
the antics,
random antics, And it's like one episode where he's like, we've gone too far. He's like, what? Right now, Frank, if I told you that you were going to be a cheater man, what would you do? He's like, I'd go get the spots. He's like, of course you'd go get the spots. Why do we have spots? What is going on?
What if I said I wanted to become a man cheater right now? What would you do?
I go get the spots.
He's got spots. Why do you have spots? You shouldn't have spots. That's absurd, man. It's absurd. You know what? I blame you for most of this.
Me?
Yeah, because you came in here with your endless goddamn supply of money and financed all this bizarre behavior.
Or the episode, I think I watched it with, not you, with another friend of mine, where it was like you know the episode I want to talk about, right?
No.
The pageant.
No. Oh,
because that's
the one that somehow came to true life.
So the episode I was watching it is like, I'm just watching it with him, and my friend's like, he's laughing under his breath, he knows what's about to happen. Like, Danny DeVito's like, oh, I've accidentally signed up for a beauty pageant. So what's the problem? And then all the little girls walk in. And I looked at my mate and went, no. And he went, yeah. And his friend was like, I'm not a diddler, I don't diddle kids.
We need to write a song about how we do not diddle kids.
Like,
and then that came through in the end.
It's like, Frank, there's no quicker way to make people think you diddle kids than by writing a song about how you don't diddle kids. And then we actually had a real person in real life sing a song about how they don't diddle kids.
We gotta definitely write a song about how we do not diddle kids. Do not diddle kids, it's no good diddling kids.
There is no quicker way for people to think that you are diddling kids than by writing a song about it.
You gotta write a song that says, ooh, I wouldn't do it with anybody younger than my daughter. No little kids, gotta be big.
And yet, each member of the gang exhibits unethical behavior and antisocial traits such as extreme selfishness, pathological dishonesty, narcissism, aggression, excessive drinking, substance abuse, unregulated emotions, cruelty, and absolutely no regard for people around them, while also displaying acute codependency, stupidity, and a surprising lack of awareness of basic social norms.
Yep.
It's like, I've tried to get quite a few people to watch It's Always Sunny, and I think when I first introduced people, I was like, oh, just go watch it. And they'd come back and be like, these people are awful, I don't like any of them. It's like, I didn't explain that that's the point.
The point is that you're not supposed to like them. You're supposed to enjoy them getting their comeuppance. It's like, but they're wrong about everything. Exactly. I love as well the payoff of like, there's a concept known as the anti-joke. And an anti-joke is, say, there's a joke, or you expect there to be a punchline, and there's no punchline. And they have like this, 2-3 seasons of like Max struggling with his weight, where he gets fat.
It's one season.
One season he gets, and then the next season he gets real ripped. And they have the moment where he takes his shirt off and like you see like the pinnacle of all the work that he's done. Like Rob McElhenney, like absolutely fantastic shape. He goes, look guys, I'm ripped now. Let's do something with it. And they all say, we don't care.
Yeah.
And he's like such a meta anti-joke of you expect them to, because you know behind the scenes the amount of work he put in. For it all to culminate in them saying, we don't care, is so funny.
And I think there is like a couple of seasons gap between that. But yeah, the fact that like just one season he just shows up and he's like, look,
I'm ripped.
I've done it.
I'm ripped now. But I think he even says, we can do something with this, right? almost like, meta thing of like, oh, I'm ripped, are we going to make any jokes or do something with the fact?
And literally Dennis is like, whatever, put your shirt back on.
Yeah, then no one cares.
All right, what's up?
What's going on?
Oh, well, I got into really good shape. Am I hitting the light right?
What's happening?
Why?
Why?
It's so good. Like 3 seasons of build up for that. It's like, is it Community who do that with the Beetlejuice joke?
Yeah.
Where they have like across like 4 or 5 seasons, they have people say Beetlejuice, and the third time they say it, a guy in a Beetlejuice costume walks past.
I think it's like the first 3 seasons is like each season they say Beetlejuice one time, and then the third season it's like maybe the Halloween episode, I think, and a guy in a Beetlejuice outfit walks past in the background, and it's background that you have to have it pointed out to you.
There's nothing in your playlist but Spooky Party, the Beetlejuice soundtrack, and NPR podcast.
And people remember, this is before like streaming was widespread, so 99% of people missed the joke.
Community is also the show that had an entire episode where Abed had a backstory in the background of the show that is like never really mentioned, where he helps a woman deliver a baby in the back of a car, and there's multiple scenes of him helping out this pregnant woman in the background, and it culminates in her giving birth and Abed helping deliver the baby.
Yeah.
And then like later down the line they just mention like, oh yeah, I helped a woman deliver a baby. It's like, wait, when did that happen? You never mentioned it. He's like, oh, it's in the background.
Felt. We're supposed to fill it with every mistake and miracle we can manage.
It literally
like,
is, yeah.
Whatever.
So it reminds me a little bit of another show that's like on my list. I've seen a couple episodes, but I've not quite. I'd like dip my toes in fully. Is Arrested Development, where I found out like the guy who wrote Arrested Development, I think the gap between like the reboot and the previous season, it's like every single second was like had like 5 different plot lines going on at once, and they said they walked into his room once and they saw the entire room is covered in like post-it notes of what every character was doing at any given moment.
And every single one just said Pepe Sylvia.
Pepe Sylvia. This name keeps coming up over and over again. Every day, Pepe's mail's getting sent back to me. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I look in the mail. Well, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia.
They said that we had to work out like every character was it like because the weird floating intersecting timeline thing they had on that show, and how densely written it was. It's like, we walk in and like every single character had like an intersecting backstory across like all 5 seasons that he'd written, and had just in his room, and he looked like he'd gone insane.
It's like season 4 and 5 were not great of Arrested Development, but season 4 with the weird way they like cut up each episode. Yeah, it was such a weird way to do it, and then they cut it into chronological order.
Yeah, because that was the thing, and apparently he was annoyed about that because it was out of order. It's like a Tarantino movie or something. And then they said it's too dense. I think that was it's amazing. This is like one of the best seasons of television ever made. It's too dense. People can't understand it. You need to sit down and watch this show, but people don't have time to do that. So we need to
like the premise of it was like the background elements would pay off episodes later, but not make sense at the time, and it made for such a weird viewing experience.
But also an interesting one, and the director nearly went crazy doing that.
But Carl, I'm going to ask you one last time.
Yes.
Can you give me one last clip that you remember of Always Sunny to end on? Because I'll give one as well.
That's the thing, there's a couple like strong contenders. Like, you tell me yours, and I'll have a think of the episodes that I've watched.
So I think for me is hopefully we don't get like demonetized just for like this clip. Is just Charlie Day asking Santa, "Did you fuck my mom?"
Did you fuck my mom?
What do you mean?
Did you fuck my mom, Santa Claus? Did you fuck my mom? No. Did you fuck her? No. Did you fuck my fucking mom? Did you fuck my mom, Santa? Yeah!
Actually, I know what it is. And it is, I forget the name of the episode, but no doubt you better find it. And it is where Mac and Dennis are listening to music.
Okay.
And I think this is like peak sociopath Dennis, where they're listening to music and they're dancing, they're grooving backwards. I think they're eating cheese. So cheese is an aphrodisiac, right? And they're grooving and they're dancing, and you see Matt getting kind of into it, and like Dennis goes into it, and you think he's going to go in for a kiss, and then the last second he just turns away.
Hey, you guys catch that rat yet?
Because it's the most like paying off I have ever seen in a show because the reactions from both characters and both actors are so genuine in that moment. And I was howling when I saw it.
We haven't given enough credit to Caitlin Olsen. I just want to say to end, like, she's incredible.
Yep.
And one of the funniest physical actors I've seen in a long, long time.
One of the best physical.
I don't think we talked about her enough in this thing, but like, yeah.
Because there's so much other stuff to talk about, but the fact that she's not in more stuff, like you've got like Melissa McCarthy, like she's like known as like a great physical comedian. It's like she's got nothing on Caitlin Olsen. Why is Caitlin Olsen not playing that role in movies? Because she's fucking great at it. She plays like the role, like the frazzled woman who's just like completely just like fuck this so well.
We didn't even mention any of the side characters or anything. Like, it's such a good show, and if you like that idea of like watching bad people get their comeuppance, go and watch it.